Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome once again to our webinar series. For those of you joining us for the first time, thank you very much for your time. And those who have joined us in previous webinars as well, we are grateful for the time that you have spent in joining us. We hope it has been worthwhile. Today, in our webinar, we will be looking at the XERO updates for Q1, Q2, and Q3 of 2021. By way of introduction, to improve user experience and efficiency, XERO Cloud Accounting Software updates some selected features on the software every year on quarterly basis. This has been going on over the last couple of years, and it has helped users greatly. We at SCG Chartered Accountants have helped users of XERO in Ghana and beyond to catch up with these updates as and when XERO releases them. And so today we are doing just that. And with me to lead the discussion is Chief John van der Poy. Chief is a associate in the client accounting unit of SCG Chartered Accountants, and he will be leading us today in the discussion. But before I ask Chief to introduce himself, kindly note that your mics are muted to prevent any feedback in the course of the presentation. And if you have any question in the course of the presentation, kindly put them in the Q&A box below, and then we would attend to all questions and comments at the end of the session. So, Chief, I hope you are ready.
Yes, I am.
Okay, kindly introduce yourself so then we can get straight into action.
Okay. So thank you, Amos, for the brief introduction. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for making time for this webinar. Once again, my name is Chief van der Poy. I'm a part of the Client Accounting Services arm of SCG. My work focuses on researching accounting and business process software to help companies be more efficient in their operations. The main software we use here is XERO for our SMEs. And that's the purpose of this webinar. We're going to go through the updates for the first, second, and third quarter for XERO and how it is relevant to the Ghanaian market.
All right, thank you, Chief, for the introduction. So now let's move straight into action. So what do you have for us today by way of updates? Okay,
so for our outline, I would first give a brief overview of XERO so everyone is on the same page. We're going to look at the new updates related to invoicing, to bank reconciliations, and to reporting. Then we will proceed with a demonstration, and then we will take your questions and provide some answers for you. Okay, so let's begin. What is XERO? XERO is a cloud accounting software. It helps accountants and managers obtain relevant financial information for decision-making in real time. The key market differentiation with XERO is its ease of use. It also provides quarterly updates of new features for its clients. So we're going to start with the invoicing in XERO, the two updates for invoicing in XERO. So what's an invoice? An invoice refers to a commercial document issued by a seller to a buyer relating to a sale or transaction, right? In relation to this, XERO helps users manage their whole revenue cycle. So XERO doesn't just allow you to send an invoice and that's it. XERO helps you manage the whole revenue cycle. So from the sales order creation to the allocating of payments, this can all be done with XERO. So something that's new is the ability to apply overpayments and prepayments to the new invoicing interface. So XERO introduced a new invoicing interface in 2019. However, unlike the classic invoicing, you could not apply overpayments and prepayments when using the new interface. Now you can apply these overpayments and prepayments in a new invoicing interface. So what was happening was every time you were trying to apply these type of payments, you would have to switch to the classic invoicing interface. But now you don't have to do that.
Okay, so basically, if I got you right, the updates will cover the areas of invoicing, bank reconciliation, and reporting.
Yes.
Okay, so we are starting with the invoicing updates.
Yes.
And that's what you just started taking us through.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Yes. So the next update for the invoicing section is the blocking of repeating invoices when a customer exceeds their credit limit. So the credit limit feature was added in 2020, so it's not new. And basically what happens is that you are notified through the invoicing creation process when a customer exceeds their credit limit. So this is set in the contact details under the financial settings of the customer. This year, this feature has been extended to block repeating invoices for customers who have exceeded their credit limits. So the repeating invoices that are blocked will be displayed in the draft invoices as they won't be approved or sent. So I want to emphasize that the credit limit feature is not a new feature, but being able to block repeating invoices is the new feature related to the credit limit.
Okay. All right.
So that ends the section for invoicing. We're going to go straight to the bank reconciliations and the new updates for bank reconciliations in XERO. So under bank reconciliation, XERO has updated the bank rules interface for a better experience. Bank rules in XERO help you process transactions in the cash book quicker. XERO applies these rules to statement lines when they meet the criteria specified under each rule. The bank rules now have their own interface where you can set spend money, receive money, and transfer money rules. So there's going to be 3 columns or 3 tabs, spend money, receive money, and transfer money rules. It's going to help make things more organized for you. And I would go through in more detail during the demonstration.
Okay.
So now you can now view these rules for each transaction separately, unlike before when they were not segregated. Okay, so that completes the section for bank reconciliations. I would like to move to the new updates for reporting. So,
okay, so we're done with the invoicing, the summary on the invoicing, and then the bank reconciliation. So now we are moving into the reporting.
Reporting, yes.
Okay. Then after that, we would have the demonstration.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So in terms of reporting, XERO has a robust reporting platform offering reports on cash flow, receivables, and many other types of reports. XERO has added new features for these, some of these reporting categories, and I want to touch on these. So the first thing I want to touch on is the display of account codes. So these account codes have now been added to the profit and loss and balance sheet report styles. So they have been specifically added to the new reporting styles for the profit and loss and balance sheet reports. So now you can display the account codes in these reports by selecting Show Account Codes under the More button. This will display the account code beside the names for easy reference. So I want to emphasize again that this was available in the classic style of reports, but users wanted this feature in the new reporting styles. So XERO has added this feature. The next update is on the statement of cash flow, right? Thanks to the XERO discussion community and feedback from users, XERO has now added the exchange rate differences arising from bank revaluations to the statements of cash flow to give a true balance of the cash when you run the cash flow report.
Okay.
To be specific, These are unrealized gains and losses arising from changes in the foreign currency rates. It's not cash flow. So XERO adds these differences to the lower part of the report. This new feature will help to alleviate the manual adjustments that have to be made when you are producing your reports for managers or for stakeholders. The next feature I want to touch on is the related accounts. So this related accounts update is specifically for the accounts transaction reports. So there's now a new column for related accounts, which can be displayed on the report when you select on the top right section. The related accounts column shows which accounts recorded the other side of the accounting journal, helping you understand the accounting context of each transaction. So you don't need to click into the transaction to see the double entries now. You can just choose that column and you're able to have the whole picture or the whole context of the transaction.
No.
The next report I would like to touch on is the income and expenses reports by contact reports. So XERO has now consolidated the income by contact and the expenses by contact reports into a single report. So let me go over again. These two reports, this report was two reports before. It was income by contact, one report, and then there was an expenses by contact report. And now XERO has merged these two reports. This new income and expenses by contact report shows you a snapshot of each contact based on income and expense transactions for a chosen period. You can also filter options to view income and expense information separately. The final report that I would like to look at is the XERO Analytics Plus dashboard.
Okay.
Right. So XERO Analytics is a platform to track and predict future cash flow and get a picture of the financial health of the company. So this was released around 2020, 2019, but now there's the XERO Analytics Plus. So something new has been added to this. So this is an evolution of the short-term cash flow and business snapshot interface. XERO has introduced an upgrade, some new features. I'll get into the details, but it allows more customization and for you to increase the length of predictions, the length of days of predictions. So that concludes the brief summary of all the updates that XERO has presented to us these past 3 quarters.
Thank you, Chief, for the introduction. I think it's quite detailed. And before we get into the demonstration bits, I would like to remind participants that you can type in your question if you have any comments in the Q&A box, and then we will attend to all these questions at the end of the session. And again, this webinar would be recorded and then posted onto our YouTube page for easy access and reference in future. So, Chief.
Yes.
Once you are done with the summary, I hope we are ready for the demonstration so that we all know how all these features work in real world.
Yes, yes. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate each feature. So we have something to base how these new features are going to impact everyday transactions.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to start with the credit limits feature for repeating invoices. Okay, so I'm going to create a repeating invoice now.
So you are starting with the invoicing feature.
Yes, invoice features. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So I'm creating an invoice now. So I'm going to send an invoice to someone named Kojo. Okay, so I've created this new contact named Kojo, and I developed something for him. And so he has to pay a fee. So I'm going to make this. First, I'm going to approve this invoice. Then I'm going to make this invoice repeat. Okay, good. So I'm going to make it repeat every week. Due 3 days. Good. Okay, so you see that I have an invoice in the repeating section of the invoice interface, right? So I'm going to go to the same contact, I set a credit limit for him, which is going to affect this repeating invoice. Okay, so let me go to contacts. Okay, and search for this person named Kojo. All right, so when I get to the contacts page, I click on the edit button to the right of the screen. I go down to credit limits amount, right? And I can set the credit limits for the client. So I'm going to set it to $50. And at the bottom, there's a credit limits block option. I'm going to click on that and set it to block sending invoices past credit limit. Okay, so I'm going to save. Okay. So now let's see what happens to the repeating invoice we created for Kojo. Okay, yes, it took a while, a little bit longer than I expected, but here we go. So you see that there's an icon, a sign, and when you go over the sign, when you put your cursor over the sign, it says this invoice puts the customer over the credit limit. So it is essentially blocked the repeating invoice. Okay. So I'd like to move to the next feature in the invoicing section, which is the me demonstrating the application of overpayments and prepayments to invoices. So let me create an overpayment. So I'm hitting the quick add button and I'm choosing receive money. To my business bank account. Okay, and at the top, I'm going to choose overpayments. Right, and I'm getting it from someone named Michelle. Another new contact. For gardening. And the amount would be 300 again. Okay, I think everything is good. Let me save. Okay. So I have an overpayments from Michelle now. I'm going to create an invoice for Michelle, and let's see what happens when I do that. Okay. So right from the get-go, when I choose Michelle, you see at the bottom left of my screen, there's a tab which lets me know that Michelle, okay, it's not there anymore, but there was a tab that let me know that Michelle has $300 worth of credits. Now I'm going to invoice her an amount. I'll say, let's say 100, right? Is there anything else? Okay, so I'm going to approve the invoice and let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. So the software is prompting me that Michelle has $300 of credits available, and it allows me to apply the credits to the invoice that I've just approved for her, right? So I'm applying the whole credits. I'm applying the credits to the whole amount of $100. So keep in mind, like I was saying in the summary at the beginning of this webinar, this was available with the classic invoicing. You see there's a button for the classic invoicing. Let me click on it. And there we go. So this was the classic invoicing, and the ability to apply overpayments and prepayments was already available with this interface. But XERO switched to the new interface and it wasn't available. And with these crop of updates, XERO has been able to address that. Okay, so that should do for the invoicing section of the webinar. So I would like to move to the reconciliation section. So for that, I'm going to go to the accounting tab and go to the bank accounts interface. Okay. So go to click on reconcile account. Okay, so this is the reconciliation interface page. And on the manage account button to the top right of the page, I would click on that and choose the bank rules option, right, on the reconcile column. Okay, so this is the reconcile column. So as what I was talking about in the summary, now there's spend money rules, receive money rules, and transfer money rules, all different tabs or different columns, right? Making it easy for you guys to organize your rules to make it faster when you are reconciling, when you upload your bank statements and you want to quickly reconcile. When you create these rules, now you'll be able to categorize them easily, and it's going to be easier for you to reference it. Okay, so that's just a demonstration of how the rules will be categorized. Very brief. So I would like to move to reporting.
Okay. So now we are done with the invoicing and then the bank reconciliation updates. Okay, so we are moving to the last part of the update, which is the reporting dates.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So please, you can send in your questions as we move on in the session. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to look at the accounting codes first, right? And I'm going to use the profits and loss statements, the new style for profits and loss statements. Okay, so here's the profit and loss statement run for this month, right? As you can see, there's no accounts codes when you first choose this statement to run. To add the accounts codes, I hit the more button on the top right, and you would see accounts codes in the show section. I click on that and I run the report again. And there we go. So you see sales is 200, purchases is 300, advertising 400. So this is just going to make it easy when you're communicating with accounting staff, with managers, with other stakeholders. You can just, you know, send the number rather than typing the whole account, if that makes sense. Okay, so that should do for account codes. The next thing I want to demonstrate is the addition of exchange rates in the statement of cash flow. So let me run the statement of cash flow quickly. All right, so here's the statement of cash flow. And let me run it for the financial year. Okay, and I'm running for the year to date. All right, so you can see that there's no indication of exchange rates differences, right? Currently, I'm going to show you that XERO has now updated this statement to show these exchange rates differences. So I'm going to create a receive money. But I'm going to receive the money in a different account. A different exchange medium. So a different currency. So right now, this company exchanges in dollars, but now I'm going to receive money in CDs. All right. And I'm going to receive it at the start of the year so that there's going to be a difference in the value. Okay. I received from someone named Obed. Okay. Maybe it's a retainer, and he sent me 1,000 CDs. Right. Okay, that's fine. I don't really care about the tax right now. I just want the money in the account. So let me save. Okay, so I have about 1,000 CDs in the account. Now I'm going to go back to the cash flow statement. Yes, let me go back to the cash flow statement. I'm going to choose the year to date once again. Okay, I'm going to update. Okay, there we go. So you can see there's a new line which says effect of exchange rate changes on cash. So because I have money not in my initial currency, I have money in CDs now in a different account. There's going to be some exchange rate differences, right? The value is not going to be the same, right? From the start of the year to the end of the year, right? Because the dollar and the CD fluctuate, right? So now XERO has given us this option. So this should help with the manual adjustments that accountants would have to make, or managers would have to make to show the correct value on their cash flow statements to present to stakeholders. All right, so that should do for the cash flow. I would like to show how the related accounts option has affected the transactions report. Okay, so let me go back to reports. And here we go. So I'm choosing the account transaction reports. And let me just pick an account. I'm going to pick sales for this month. All right, so here's my sales account report, all the transactions in the sales accounts for this month. So currently, right, there's no related accounts column. To get the related accounts column, I go to the columns tab, I choose it, I click on it, and I choose related accounts, the related accounts option. All right, and I'm going to update, and there we go. So there's a new column titled related accounts, and it gives you a context or the other side of the journal entry related to this transaction you see. So we have a receivable invoice and we see 615 the credits, and we know that accounting is a double entry, so there's going to be a debit somewhere else, right? And here we have a context. We know that there's accounts receivable is involved, and the sales tax account is also involved in this transaction.
Okay, so this feature basically gives you, it displays the double entry. So if you don't even understand accounting, even though it's very important, it still gives you an idea which account has been debited and which one has been credited on the display.
Yes, and it's going to be convenient for accountants, rather than clicking into the transaction to see the context. You can just run the report and with the related accounts, and you're able to see where the other side is going to, and it's going to save time.
Yeah, but it's also important that you know your debit and credit.
Yes,
because if you don't know those things, chances are you may post into the wrong account and it will still balance, but it wouldn't be accurate.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes. So it's fundamental that you understand your debits and credits in this case. Yeah.
Okay, so that should do for the related accounts. The next feature I want to highlight, or the next report I want to highlight, is the income and expenses by contact report. As a new report I mentioned, it's a merging of two reports. Let me search for that income. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So this is a brief, once again, this is a merging of two reports, the income by contact and the expenses by contact, right? It's been merged into one. And what this does, it gives you a snapshot of the customer or the client. You're able to see the expenses for the client and the income for the client. So from this report, you can be able to tell from a glance which client is bringing in more money, which client is costing more, right? Or which contacts is costing more. All right. The last thing I want to touch on is the XERO Analytics Plus, right? I'm going to focus on the short-term cash flow dashboard. Okay, all banking. So you have to select the bank account. I've selected all bank accounts. Projection will be 30 days. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, like I said, this was introduced around 2020, right? Just giving you a brief overview. So, the cash flow projection that it uses, or the predictive ability of this dashboard uses your past sales transactions, your past bills, and your past invoices to show, to predict the cash flow in the future. So it's grouped by week. So I choose what week, and it shows you on the graph what the software predicts. Is supposed to use AI to cover this. So I mean, this was already available before, right? But there's XERO Analytics Plus, which adds a few new features. So I'm not able to access XERO Analytics Plus, but I'm going to show you what it would do, right? So instead of 30 days, you would have 60 days, right? You have more than the 30 days, so you can predict further into the future. Added onto that, you can also customize your predictions. You can have a scenario analysis. You can say, what if this bill is not paid? What if this person doesn't send the money? What if you're not able to get money from this client? And you can add those to your
scenarios.
Yes, add those to the scenario, and be able to see how much cash flow you should have in the coming days based on the AI that XERO is using. Okay, so that should do it for the reporting section of the webinar. I've covered all the new features and how they would apply to the everyday use of XERO.
All right, Chief, thank you for the detailed demonstration of how the updates work in real life. And I know that for those of you who are using XERO already, you can easily relate to this and how it helps improve the way you use XERO going forward. And for those of you who are maybe not familiar with XERO, it gives you an idea how easy it is to use XERO to run your accounting function. So let me see if we have questions. Then we would take those questions. And all right. Let me check. Okay. All right. So this is from an anonymous attendee. It wants to find out, is XERO Analytics an add-on, or do you have to pay extra to access it?
So you have to pay extra to access XERO Analytics Plus.
Okay.
Yes.
So is it an add-on?
So no. So XERO Analytics for now is not an add-on.
No. Okay.
So, but to add the customizations I mentioned earlier, that will move you to XERO Analytics Plus, which you have to pay a small amount. 4.
Yeah, okay. So there's somebody, it's a follow-up question. Is that how much extra? If you have an idea, how much?
It's between I don't have the details at the moment.
Okay, that's fine. But I don't think it will be anything significant.
Yes, it won't be anything significant.
Okay. Yeah, so you would have to pay to answer your question on how much extra. You would have to pay a little bit extra, but we will check the exact rate, fee and maybe updates on that one. Any more questions? Okay. Let's give some 3 to 5 minutes, some 3 to 4 minutes, and then let's pick up more questions and react to them. Okay. All right. So as I indicated earlier, this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel, and will be shared on our social media handles as well, our LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook. You can also visit our website, www.scg.com.gh. We have a number of articles that relates to XERO and issues that affect your business in terms of accounting, tax, payroll, and audit. So let me pick one more question from Bonaventure Foliche. He said, any disadvantage of the XERO software in comparison to others?
That's a lot. That's will require a lot of research. For XERO, I would say XERO holds its own compared to a lot of other accounting softwares. I think disadvantages, maybe compared to ERPs, enterprise planning softwares, XERO might not be as robust.
Let me just come in and then see. Bonaventure, if you can maybe just do a follow-up or add something, can you be specific, maybe any software you want to compare with XERO with? Otherwise, what I can also say is that XERO is a very easy tool to use, and it's also cloud-based, which gives you, access anywhere in the world, irrespective of where you are, provided you have internet connection. And it is very easy to use for even non-accountants. I mean, you can easily train non-accountants to how to use this software, and it's very easy. But whatever the advantages and disadvantages are, depends on what you are comparing with. So if you can be specific, maybe that will be helpful. Okay, so someone, anonymous attendee, also wants to find out, please, more on income and expense by contact. Is it by product, department, or your question is not complete? Can you be more specific with your question? The question on the please, more on income and expenses by contact. Is it by product, department, or thanks? I don't know what you really mean, but can you be specific with your question? Or do you understand the question?
I think I guess it. I believe it's on by contact. So by clients or by suppliers, right? So whatever contacts you have, that report will show you the income and expenses for that particular contact, which is either a client or a supplier. What if there's a contact on your XERO software or your database, it will show on that report and it will give you a summary of the income and expenses.
Okay, so simply it's for it's by contact, and not by product or department.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. Okay, so Yeah, Bonaventure, I'm just waiting for your question if you have, but then as I indicated earlier, any disadvantage to others, each software, of course, has its advantages and disadvantages. They serve different purposes. So unless you clarify the purpose, this question we will not be able to answer. I mean, we'll not be able to answer this question well for you. All right. So I think that will be it for the questions. Let me check. Are there any more questions? Okay. You want to say something? Please go ahead.
Yes. Something to note for the Analytics Plus. So after the 31st of January of 2022, the standard pricing for Analytics Plus will automatically be added to your existing monthly subscription fee, which is like $10 per organization per month. To change your plan or any add-on, you have to go to the subscription XERO website. So after next year, it will be automatically added to your subscription fee. That's something I wanted to add.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Chief. Well, there's a question from Nak Rudolph. He said, please, is this software useful for a manufacturing company? For manufacturing, no. It's for retailers and those who buy and sell inventory. But there is an add-on for manufacturing business as well. So if you want to use it for manufacturing, there's an add-on that you can get to be able to use it, depending on what you manufacture, how your processes are like, then you can use it. So maybe if you have any need in terms of whether to use it for manufacturing, you can get in touch with us later on, and then we can look at it for you and recommend any add-on that could be useful for your purpose. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, Chief, for the presentation. It's been insightful. And as I said earlier, those who are already using XERO, I believe would find this webinar very useful. And then for those who, who are joining us for the first time and are new to XERO, I believe you can also relate that it's very easy tool to use. And then we will be having more of such engagement going forward, so that you will know how XERO works in real life. So thank you, Chief. And then for all those who join us today, thank you very much for your time. We expect you to also join in our subsequent webinars that will engage you in all aspects of business. As I said earlier, we present or we educate our audience on issues of accounting, tax, audits, payroll, and all. So join us in our next webinar and have a great day. Thank you very much.